Hello, welcome to this update for Asia. So we have tropical storm Feng Sheng in the South China Sea. It just hit the Philippines about 2 days ago, and it did bring a lot of flooding and heavy rain there in the Philippines. So now the storm is in the South China Sea is expected to affect Vietnam and southern China. So it's still a tropical storm, might affect the southern portions of Hainan and also these small islands like Hong Sa. So please be aware of the storm. And then today's the 20th Monday. Then Tuesday still in the South China Sea. Wednesday might approach Vietnam or the center of circulation. Also some heavy rain on the north side still affecting Hainan into Vietnam. So by Thursday there'll still be some rain likely around Vietnam and spots in southern Hainan might end by Wednesday in Hainan, but in Vietnam, Thursday and Friday still shows some heavy rain from the storm. So be aware those areas. And then by Saturday, the storm is mostly gone, but still shows some scattered showers and storms there around Thailand, Cambodia, into Vietnam. So the rain accumulation till Saturday, the 25th, does show a growing flood threat around Vietnam, close to like 500 millimeters possible on the European model, even like 522, 558. So please be careful. This might cause some problems there, especially like central Vietnam and southern Vietnam shows some downpours from this as well. There's even to 100 millimeters, a few spots into Malaysia, more areas across southern Thailand, more showers and storms, but especially central Vietnam. Please stay safe. And then the GFS shows like the GFS much less, just around 200 millimeters. But even like 200, we already cause flooding in many areas. So if the European is right, 500 might cause catastrophic flooding. The icon is further south, but it also has more than 500, like 569. That would be even more dangerous and shows some other areas like 100, 300 by the icon, because the icon dives straight south towards Vietnam, and the European has the worst like further north. So please be aware of this storm coming and warn others. The Access is another high resolution model. It shows even like to 624 millimeters the Access. The Access often exaggerates, but sometimes it's right. So please be aware because the GFS is lower, but the other three models already have more than 500 millimeters. So this might cause some catastrophic flooding in those areas. Please warn others and stay safe around Laos, some more showers as well. Spots in Cambodia, Thailand, a little bit less, but still a few storms in the far south, but not much there. And let's see. Be aware in southern Hainan, especially like the southeast facing coast to 200 millimeters or 300. Be careful in the southern coast as well, but especially like the southeastern side of Hainan. And the GFS is just about some 80 millimeters. The icon barely touches Hainan because the icon goes south faster, but the European has a lot there. So no matter the scenario, you might get a few storms in Hainan. So just stay safe there regardless. So please be careful and warn others. In terms of wind, this might have some damaging winds near the ocean, southern Hainan, and spots near Vietnam. The winds might die down before reaching Vietnam itself, but still strong in many areas. The European model wind gust does show like Monday, Tuesday, today's Monday, so into Tuesday shows this touches Hainan with some stronger gusts, spots in Vietnam already feeling it as well, and especially be careful with rip currents and like dangerous surf. So stay safe. Let's see here. Shows Wednesday morning to Wednesday afternoon. The wind starts dying down before landfall, but still some strong gusts offshore of Vietnam. So be careful across Laos. And then Thursday is still some stronger gusts around now Laos and Vietnam, especially right in the border. And then Thursday through Friday, the winds might die down, but still strong near China and Taiwan. In those areas, still stronger gusts. So stay safe, be aware. Especially the rainfall might get a lot of rain in Taiwan as well because of another disturbance. The European is also like 479 millimeters in Taiwan, so there is a flood threat there as well. So be careful. The GFS is 520, the Icon just 200 in a few areas, but considering that both major models are close to 500, this is not a good situation for Taiwan. So please be aware those areas and spots in the southern islands of Japan as well, like Miyakojima, spots in Taama, not areas, some heavy rains and thunderstorms. So stay safe around Kagoshima, not the islands there, more than 200. The GFS has this whole area as well with some heavier storms. The Icon further west, but has some strong storms as well. So stay safe those areas and in Indonesia, those showers and storms just continue to be careful as always in the tropics. Some heavy rain, lightning, a few storms, gusty winds, so be aware. And some areas might get some stronger storms like central Malaysia to Indonesia, 200 millimeters, a few specific locations. So be careful in those areas. And India still has a fair share of rain, especially around southern India, 95 to 100 millimeters along the southeast coast, spots of the west coast as well. Mumbai, a few storms, but the heaviest is further south, near the southwestern coast, and other spots there. So stay safe, centrish in India as well, and some rain left in Bangladesh and Myanmar, but not nearly how much was before during monsoon season, because the monsoons are retreating further south. So still a few showers, and the west coast of Sri Lanka into the Maldives. Be careful as well. So let's see here. There's in the Indian Ocean still in tropical cyclone 4 that might approach Madagascar. The rainfall next 5 days shows close to 134 millimeters north Madagascar, and specific locations there like far north Madagascar and some islands, because this cyclone will weaken before it gets there, but it will pass fairly close. So it's there now in the central Indian Ocean, a fairly uh, well-shaped cyclone, and then it goes. If you are in Vinking, you should watch this closely. And then Thursday shows Friday, the 24th. This cyclone will definitely pass through northern Madagascar. Not so strong, but like as a weakening tropical storm or tropical depression. So be careful in those areas and like warn others because this might cause some flooding and heavy rain. And after that, the European even takes this towards Mayotte and Comoros and the Mozambique Channel Saturday into Sunday, the 26th, and later it weakens as it goes towards Tanzania. So Monday, Sunday to the 27th, still Sunday the 26th, actually, and then Monday 27th, still might have some heavy rain near Tanzania because of this. So it's still October and the cyclone season starts in November there. So this is a very interesting occasion. But yeah, it's still early in the season, but this cyclone might cause some potential flooding. So until the 28th, eventually when this gets to Tanzania, show some 200 meters there as well. Spots southern Tanzania in the Comoros, close to 100 meters. So if you are in Madagascar or spots of East Africa, please monitor this in those areas. And the rest of Africa shows some heavy rain, Central Africa as usual, especially Democratic Republic of Congo and Northern Angola. And South Africa is doing better, but still it's a shower or two from some cold fronts in the Southern Ocean, but barely any rain. Just a few areas and shows West Africa still a few tropical waves. So yeah, be careful in those areas And Japan itself shows some rain offshore, especially in the Izu Islands, but in Japan it doesn't show that much. But there'll be this front system nearby. So be aware. So right now there's the tropical storm there in the South China Sea, and there's also these are the tropical storm probabilities shows even like 90% near Taiwan because of that disturbance causing heavy rain. This is already on Thursday, the 23rd. This goes and still some high probabilities between the Philippines and Taiwan by next Saturday, and this dissipates later. But this area of like Taiwan, China, Japan, Philippines should watch this disturbance now. And then this goes, there's the tropical storm north of Madagascar, the probability is there. And later still shows some probabilities, the Indian Ocean and the Arabian Sea Sunday. And then this goes, the Bay of Bengal, still some low probabilities later this month. And tropical depression probabilities are very high in the southeastern Indian Ocean as well, and off the east coast of India. So I don't think anything will form near India, but there are some high tropical depression probabilities there as well. So Friday, Saturday, still in the South China Sea and spots in the Indian Ocean and Bay of Bengal already higher next week. So still watching that and be aware. There's here just checking Feng Sheng again. Tropical storm Feng Sheng. It will head towards Vietnam and then weaken there. And the general track is pointing towards this as well. So stay safe, especially because of the flooding it might cause in Vietnam. And stay safe here. The GFS shows like there's a disturbance near Taiwan with the heavy rain. It might form into a storm or not because it's kind of attached to a front and disorganized, but it might manage to make it, but still watching. And later, there are some meandering low pressures along Micronesia, southern Philippines, Malaysia, and those areas in the deep tropics. These areas might not get anything because they are too close to the equator, but later in the Indian Ocean does show like the GFS if it manages to load. So like let's see, because the internet just decided to give out here. So later this month it has like the low pressure in the east coast of India this week on the 23rd. So it actually has a pretty decent low pressure there around eastern India. So this might actually become a depression or a storm. So better watch there in India this week, especially on Chennai and other areas. This go later on the 27th, the GFS has another one going towards India, and later the GFS has another. So the GFS like a tropical cyclone bomb. It keeps throwing things out there. But let's see the realistic European model. It shows like this week by Thursday shows kind of a low pressure there in the Arabian Sea, but it doesn't show any cyclone in the Bay of Bengal. It tries to form a cyclone in the Arabian Sea on October 28th, there near India. And then later, this area in November 4th, it doesn't have anything, so it just has some low pressures, the Bay of Bengal, but it doesn't have any cyclone like the GFS. So if I were you, I would trust the European now, but you never know because this week the Canadian has also a tropical storm in the Bay of Bengal. So especially around Wednesday, the 22nd, that's 2 days from now, it shows a tropical storm. So maybe the European is still sleeping because two models I saw are showing a tropical storm this week there. So there's some tropical depression probabilities in the European probabilistic there. So better just watch in spots of India, but be aware the ensembles might help to explain it better. So here for the Indian Ocean does show like let's just put 126 hours out. It does show some decent amount of members there near the east coast of India, but it has more members the Arabian Sea, so it still has more support in the Arabian Sea compared to eastern India. But a short-lived depression might form there in India. But the Euro has a lot of support for something the central Indian Ocean originating from Indonesia and going west. So better watch the central Indian Ocean and this tropical storm towards northern Madagascar. So going the full length, 240 hours out, does show the storm from Madagascar eventually makes it to Mozambique or Tanzania, and then the storm in the Central Indian Ocean might just die off there. And then later shows even more ensembles in the last week of October into November in the Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea. So these two areas should watch around India throughout the last week of this month, and also the South China Sea still has a few members. So I would tag places to watch this month in November as the Bay of Bengal, Arabian Sea, and South China Sea. So better watch if you are in these areas, and also prepare in Madagascar and those areas for the cyclone now. So stay safe in those areas. If we check the GFS, the rainfall accumulation in India on the GFS is much higher because it actually has a tropical storm striking India. So if this happens, you should brace for a lot of flooding and some damaging winds as well. But if what the European says happens, you should be fine. But still localized flooding in a few areas because of that disturbance with heavy rain. The icon doesn't have a true cyclone, but it has some heavy rain along the coast as well. So stay safe both in Western India and Eastern India from these disturbances. So be careful those areas. Now let's move on into the polar regions. So be careful in the tropics there. And now the temperate to polar zones still shows some fronts in Russia, some snow in Siberia, and like there's a front across western Russia, western Kazakhstan as well. And then those fronts with snow continue across northernmost Russia, like Siberia and the Arctic. Some more snow this week. Even central Russia, one dives down towards central Russia. Thursday, Friday, maybe touching northern Mongolia. But be aware, because Saturday shows another front, some snow, a little bit of freezing rain, a few areas of central Russia, Saturday, Sunday, and like those clippers continue with those fronts and snow. So be aware, accumulated rain shows central China, a little bit of rain, but finally you won't get crazy flooding cold fronts this week, but still watching later on. But Russia shows some rain there as well. In western Russia to Turkey, some rain across western Turkey, across northern Iran, northern Iraq, a shower too as well. But then Russia, it's mostly snow. I said rain, but it's mostly snow. So shows like spots of central Russia and more across northern Russia there in the Arctic, and even touching northern China there. Even shows like in these mountains west of Beijing, might get some snow in the next 5 days until Saturday. So please be aware, spots there across Tibet, northern Nepal, Bhutan, into northern India, Afghanistan, into northern Pakistan, and other areas. Already some snow in the Tian Shan as well, some. So be aware in the mountains, and shows like there's extratropical cyclone near eastern Russia and some snow in the Kamchatka Peninsula. Shows even like 100 centimeters, a few areas, and more across Siberia as usual. Central northern Russia is like the hotspot for snowstorms. So be careful into southeastern Russia too, and more spots, especially a few areas on the west. The far west, no. Touching Europe, there's no snow for now, but touching Finland, yes, and central western Russia. So be aware, and we'll look into Europe more tomorrow or Wednesday. So stay tuned for that. And then shows like in the Caucasus, some snow as well, spots in Azerbaijan, into Turkey, next 5 days. So be aware and stay safe, especially because of the cold. Shows like in Siberia, it's already like wait, let's bring Celsius, minus 26 degrees Celsius, and prep practically everywhere there, even along the coast, negative temperature. So please be careful. Eastern Russia, Central Russia, the only place safe from the cold is far western Russia, in the southwest there. In the northwest, some negative temperatures too, in the Caucasus as well. So be aware. especially central Russia. Most of northern China is already covered in negative temperatures. Mongolia, northern Japan is feeling a taste of winter as well into North Korea. So this is tonight, but during the afternoon, tomorrow it does get better. So you will have some relief, but shows like still 7 degrees, 5 degrees during the day, a few spots a little bit higher. Shows in Mongolia remains negative and Eastern Russia remains cold, but in the south does warm up during the day a little bit. So in India, southern Pakistan, still hot, spots Bangladesh, Myanmar, southern Saudi Arabia, still in the 30s degrees Celsius. And then during the night, in eastern Russia is like, it's almost to like minus 30, minus 27 degrees Celsius already in a few areas. So stay safe, especially like frostbite and the wind chills, the feels like temperatures might feel colder than minus 30 in some areas. So stay safe, like especially high elevations, and shows most of central and eastern Russia very cold to northern China and to northern Japan and South Korea. South Korea, not North Korea, but South Korea kind of chilly too. Shows there across Mongolia, very cold, especially the higher you go. In Tibet, of course, northern India and Tajikistan, those negative temperatures, the mountains. So stay safe. It shows more spots in northern China. So Tuesday, during the afternoon, does warm up. Still kind of hot in the Middle East, into India. Spots Saudi Arabia to 38 on the west still. But Russia is frozen in some Far Eastern regions Wednesday, later in the night, like still very cold because the mass of cold air is probably moving further east, like minus 27, but still very harsh in Siberia as well. But the worst has moved far east. And if you're in North America, this might go towards you in Alaska. So pack up some more jackets. And it shows like more across central Russia. Negative temperatures continue this already Wednesday. Northern China, spots in Mongolia. There's some high elevations already showing to like minus 25 as well. So stay safe. Along the west, some cold nights in a few areas, but nothing crazy. Then Wednesday, Thursday, still very cold there in the north. And then like Friday, the cold is trying to make a comeback across central western Russia. And then Friday afternoon, still hotish in India, into the Middle East in a few areas, but not as hot as before. And the extreme cold remains far east. Friday, Saturday still shows in eastern Russia. And take a look at this. On Saturday the 25th into Sunday, you might even get like minus 30 degrees Celsius for the first time this season. So really get your jackets. This is about to get very cold. But there's the GFS for comparison. By Saturday, it has like some minus 30 as well. The icon, I don't know if it goes south that far. It does go, and this whole area is like very cold. So please stay safe and be aware. Later, a similar trend continues with a few changes. So be aware in those areas, and if you want the forecast for a specific area, feel free to ask me. But in other areas like the Middle East, in Turkey, I show some colder nights in the mountains, but nothing too crazy yet. And there are like some 16 degrees, Saudi Arabia during the night, and the tropics still very warm. So be aware, those areas, there's wind gusts, might be strong there in the South China Sea, the Sea of Japan, not much, but like in the Yellow Sea near China. So be aware, shows those gusts there just off the coast in Japan. By Thursday, Friday, some stronger gusts and still strong. Then later, those cold fronts in Russia show slightly stronger gusts from time to time, like some spots southern Russia, 66 km per gust Friday. Nothing too crazy, but just be aware of those frontal systems, especially when they make it to China. So be aware, but nothing too crazy. So stay safe the tropical cyclones, both in Asia and East Africa, and warn others.